John is actually working on several projects as an assistant professor of engineering leadership development. He's in the College of Engineering at Penn State, and he focuses on engineering, intrapreneurial leadership development, professional identity development, and sustainability education. He's also a co-founder of the Pillar Foundation International. I would love to know a little more about that too. That works on human rights and educational equality. He has several ongoing collaborations across various countries like Australia, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Ghana, and Kenya. John has a background in human resources management, right? And a master's of educational technology and program evaluation. He also got his PhD in organizational psychology from UT Austin, where he was there for about 5 years. We actually met at a conference several times, and I'm very interested in the interdisciplinary nature of work, where he has a background in HRM and organizational psychology, but looks like he focuses on STEM education. That is also in my area of interest. So without further ado, welcome, John. The stage is yours. If you all have questions, please feel free to use the chat window. Is it okay if, in case they have questions, they ask you then, or would you prefer everything on the chat window and I'll be taking a look at that? What do you prefer?
Probably I packed my presentation 45 minutes, so maybe in the chat and after my presentation will be great.
Definitely, definitely. So please feel free to put your questions on the chat window and I'll keep looking at it. Over to you, John. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Diva. Thank you, everyone. It is a bit strange that I'm looking at my computer screen and I see my presentation only. I don't see you guys, but I will do my best. So as Diva introduced myself, I'm Dr. Park from Penn State University. And I do have other affiliations with the two other nonprofit organizations. To the left up, IPSI, which is the International Board of Standard for Training Performance Instruction. So I'm a researcher there, and we develop training and performance the criteria. So there's several projects going on there. Pillar Foundation is a nonprofit organization about humanitarian engineering, human rights. So we do quite a bit of project in Africa. And my main affiliation is with Penn State Engineering Leadership. So about today, next slide. My presentation will be 45 minutes. I packed my presentation because it's late over there in India, and my colleagues, my students from here, 7 in the morning. So I want to make my presentation as meaningful as possible, as fun as possible. So I packed my presentation. So there will be 5 parts, and I'll introduce a little bit about my personal side about me, 3 minutes, and there will be the 3 major parts of my presentation. Part 1, entrepreneurial organization and leadership. Part 2, research about it. 3, my sustainability projects in Africa. 3 parts are not necessarily exactly aligned. I purposefully designed my presentation like this, so you need to stay focused on how you're gonna put the 3 puzzles together, 3 parts together. Can you guys see my PowerPoint well?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great. So brief about myself. I live in a very cold place in America called Pennsylvania. Top of Pennsylvania, a lot of snow, and you see suffering the snow, and my wife and my son, and they're dragging sled, and that's what we do in here. Because I'm living in the very cold place, sometimes I visit very hot place, which is Africa. This is before the pandemic. I visited South Africa for aquaponics and agricultural drone project, and I brought my students there. And I will mention about a little bit more about it later at the end of my presentation. And then time to time, my hobby is tennis. So because a lot of research going on and teaching I'm sure some of you guys, faculty members there, I play tennis. But my main job is here, Penn State University. I'm teaching a graduate class right now at this moment. Students are emailing me tons. And also as a consultant, I do organizational development, risk consulting, and also risk management for organizations and the environmental issues. So I travel quite a bit. So that's briefly about me. And I want to get to know you more in the future. So let's get into the part one, and let's begin my timer, 45 minutes. So first part will be the intrapreneurial leadership. Maybe this word intrapreneurial is foreign to you. It is entrepreneurship within an organization. So in order to explain my research, I prepare a story, case study about American company T. I want you to guess which company I'm talking about, okay? So here are a group of people, smart people. Several years ago, they thought, okay, well, the oil is decreasing, market is decreasing, why don't we build this electric car? They're a group of people. So they hire some engineers, chemists to build and sell this electric car. Well, it was very new in the market, so business was going very well, and money. And this B sign, I hope you guys gonna catch this. This is a little hint there. This B sign. What does that mean? I'm sure you know. So because business was going well, they built more factories, buildings, and all that. So their business around this electric car. But after a couple of years, which is around 9 right now, what happened? Still company T, revenue is going up and the business going well, they sell more cars, things like that. But there is a problem. This is almost rule of thumb for any technology business. Different companies. Okay, you guys not only smart ones, and we know what we're doing too. It looks like you guys making a pretty good money. So why don't we get started? So the other company, another company, the biggest main competitor, company H, they began to build electric car. Then after a couple of years, which is probably about right now, 2021, company T still there, but what's happening? There are many other companies doing same thing, building electric cars, right? So then what? Company revenue is going down. Very typical, right? This is the common sequence of most of technology companies. So what happened to company T, which I want you to guess which company I'm talking about. So here, this group of smart people started this company, but they realized that, well, it's hard to read market and hard to run everything. So we hire different people, managers, CEOs, and other business marketing people. So these people with neckties, a consultant, like probably me, they hire these people. Then they still develop and sell these electric cars. And here is my point. And here is a red one, right? Red person appeared in here. And this person was saying that, look, because I've been working on this electric cars, but I realized that we need to move on from car business to something different. So this person who was an engineer suggested, why don't we use this technology that we develop into aerospace, space shuttle? So they hired more people to develop this project. So can you guys guess in which company I'm talking about? Right, feel free to type it in the chat. Okay, if you know which company I'm talking about, if you're following the market, and probably most of you guys know. So this person, this red one, right? That red one, particularly, he was working in the battery section, battery part. So, and this person made a suggestion to these managers that, hey, look, because we've been working on this car, which is a very important part is the battery. Why don't we use this technology idea, accumulated knowledge into something different? Because this aerospace business is kind of long shot, and how can you make a revenue out of this? And it will suck up billions of millions of dollars. So it's not really healthy for our company. So this person, engineer, made suggestion by discussing with this the leaders. And the leaders, they discussed with probably stakeholders, right? And so this is the idea. What do you guys think? And then they decide to go where? Sustainable house by solar energy. So the idea, my point is, idea is from the bottom, not from the top people who established this company, nor business managers. No, one of engineers had the idea. So then what happened to this company, T? Their revenue is going very, very up high from the sustainable house. And they hired more people, not the car. So they're shifting their business from the electric cars to reusable solar energy. Something like this. And I'm gonna reveal the company name, if you can read. And the mark is kind of famous company that builds solar panel, but they're well known as car, Tesla. So this Tesla is well-known intrapreneurial company, because intrapreneurial company is a little bit different than R&D. R&D is the core of technology companies. R&D is from the group of people, but what here in America, what we try to do with these technology companies, they try to make everybody to generate idea. Then, so it's more flat organization. Instead of only R&D people just squeezing their brains to create something cool, which is very limited. So we are here, my research is about how to restructure technology companies to be more sensitive about markets or generate more ideas from everybody. So it's going to be like this. This is not driven by all the top people who started this business, because they started business a long time ago, the idea and everything. Market is already different. So who's top of the line? All these people who's working the actual project, engineers, scientists, and these people. So organizational culture and structure should be very friendly for these people to bring up the ideas to up top, and they should be compensated, things like that. That is intrapreneurial organization. And all the leadership and everything should be shifted to cater for these people who's working on this project. So that is the idea, and that's my research. And you know this guy, all right? I don't think his brain, but he does his job. He recently mentioned about Bitcoins and everything. I think that's his job. Anyhow, this company is an example. Next part. So I spent quite a bit, 6 minutes. I'm going into the research part of it. Understanding intrapreneurial organization is understanding a beast. It's a huge part. It's mind shifting from the traditional or organizational analysis, but it's all the pieces are there. The knowledge transfer, the risk analysis, all there. It required a shift. So what I try to do is try to develop a model, the overall model of intrapreneurial organization. But before that, this is a part of research. So again, you need to make a piece together, part 1, part 2, and part 3. This is the research part. So when you listen to my presentation, second part of presentation, you need to pay attention. There are some issues and problems from the data or the research design itself, because it's preliminary research. I want you to find that there are 2 to 3 flaws or some questions that we need to have from this research. So in order to understand entrepreneurial leadership competencies, meaning that all the engineering firms and all the leaders, what kind of mindset they should have, leadership skills they should have, that this is a beginning of research. First, me and my team, we did the literature review quite a bit for 6 months. My graduate students and I, we did research about innovation and research and development and leadership and how to do it, R&D in engineering context. We reviewed thousands of articles and we identified about 24 leadership competencies that related to innovation. And we visited 20 senior engineering managers to review this leadership competencies. We asked questions. We did the literature review and passed about 20 to 30 years and all the articles talking about these kind of leadership qualities in order to promote internal innovation. But again, it used to be very top down. So the intrapreneurship is bottom up. A little bit concept was different. But anyhow, we explained the story and 20 experts, they sorted out to the 18 competencies that all the managers should have, or business managers. And then here is a quantitative study, online survey collected from about actually 1,300 engineers and engineering managers in the STEM field. So it's quite a bit into recruiting all these people. It took a while for my research team to reach out to them. More US-based companies, about 70% male, 30% female, which is good balance. It represents the market. There's a reason why I mentioned about this gender balance. I'll talk to you later about it. And so next result. These are the 18 competencies that from the literature and the business managers, seniors, and they identified. I want you to take a look at it a little bit. This is what engineering related or the technology related firms, business managers should know, should have. We provided a little bit of descriptions about each competency because the adaptability, what is adaptability, but there was a description about what that means when we asked 1,200 business leaders in engineering. I want you guys to take a look at it a little bit. On top of technical skills, because they're in the technology company, some people do have technology, engineering background, some people don't. It's half and half. So this is a rank order. The top choice, this is the most important skill that business manager should have, was communications. Second, business acumen, adaptability, coordinating, creativity, critical thinking, ethical awareness, all that. Again, I want you to think about it. There is a little bit strange things going on in here when I look at this data. Again, the research question was intrapreneurial leadership, but purposefully I didn't ask them about, I didn't ask in order to your company to be entrepreneurial. I didn't ask that, no, because I want to understand how they are right now. All these technology companies, engineers, business managers, where they at. That's what I want to know, not what they think it should be. And here is another fun factor about gender. so there is a gender difference about business acumen. Blue is male, and they think business acumen is much more important than compared to female. But coordinating is a higher. Of course, we did a t-test, so there will be the statistical significance, and it's too much detail. I think I do have a slide down there. But anyhow, coordinating. What is coordinating in definition that we provided? It is collaboration, work together, communication, collective optimization. So that aspect, female managers and engineers think that's important, while the guys think business aspect is much more important. Again, there are many engineers, and after 3 to 4 years, some people go professional engineering line, or some people go managerial line. So, but this is the overall. There are more detailed analysis, but I will skip it here. So I want you guys to think about it. Again, all the information and data that I'm presenting, I want you to catch something, and I hope we're going to have some discussion time. And then out of these 18 competencies, I grouped them by 3 orientations because there are some commonalities between these 18 competencies. So in order to make it more simpler, because there's a preliminary research, I didn't want to go too much detail about each one, because there was only one item per the competency. So I grouped them, and here's a Cronbach Alpha, and those are doing the research. I'm sure you guys know what it is. Cronbach Alpha is internal consistency, how these items or topics are linked together. It's almost correlation between all this. So 0.67, not bad. But the marginal cutoff is 7.0, so it's reasonable, acceptable. Then the means and the standard deviation here. So again, technical, remember this for the further presentation. Technical mastery is about business aspect, the problem solving, including mentorship, critical thinking, that area. Collective optimization is more adaptiveness, communication, working together, delegation, relationship, that area. Organization, innovation, this is what we want to pay attention, right? Because we are talking about innovation and intrapreneurship. Cronbach Alpha is pretty high, so I was very happy about that. It's mostly innovation, creativity. Here is other gender differences. If you see girls is statistically significant, and female managers or engineers, they think collective optimization is more important to be more innovative. So they think, but compared to male, collective optimization is collaboration, communication. So remember, and you are a I don't know, professor or a business manager, I wish I know who you are, but remember our women members, they focused on communication quite a bit. So when you're managing or when you're working with these female managers or even graduate students, communication is very important. This rule of thumb here. It appears not only there's a business organization research, but other research as well. I will share with you why I'm presenting this gender differences, because I am highly interested in the making capacity for women in STEM, because the technology industry has been led by male, mostly World War I and II, all the disaster management. But I think we can see the better world or different world when we open the room for women leaders or engineers. So in America, that's been hot topic past 50 years or so, but still we are struggling with the numbers, about 20%. It depends on the field, but STEM area, science area about 40% or 50 even, but the engineering field is about 20 pretty low. So there's another research that I'm working on is how can we empower the women students to get into more STEM field, and that's my research in here. Anyhow, remember this: women, communication, collaboration. So this is the tenure. So it depends on how many years they've been in the industry. So there are some 3 years, very young professional, maybe engineers or business people in STEM industry, and the 4 to 7 years, and we do have some senior 10 to 15 years and 12 above. And look at this. Communication, they said that it is very important when they're about to be in junior to more mid-level managers. And also above 10 years, people's been in the business company for a long time, they're business managers. Collective optimization, again, in order to be optimized business, and communication, collaboration is the most important thing, because we lose a lot. Again, the point is, in order to be the entrepreneurial, knowledge sharing, knowledge building, communication is the key. So these senior members acknowledge that, and it is critical. And about straightforward organizational innovation, here, again, senior people's been in the field for longer than 20 years. They think it is very important, organizational innovation, because again, technology companies, if there is no innovation, company will be collapsed. It's a matter of time, because there are other people, young companies are developing same thing. So it is a kind of pressing matter to R&D area and innovation, and the senior members definitely, or the senior members, meaning that more higher top leadership people, they're very sensitive about. But thing is, they are seniors, but we're living in the age working with all the youngsters and young blood with the new ideas, all that is hard to keep up. So next data, let me check my time. Okay, I'm on the schedule. This is a company size. So here is the very small size, the medium size, 100 to 500 people. I would consider this a medium size of company. And most of participants from the medium side and big company. There's some people from the over 5,000, Lockheed Martin and those Tesla and those big companies. So again, if they're working in the bigger companies, they think collaboration and communication is more important here. Collective optimization, because it makes sense, right? If you're working in the big company, you don't know who's who, you don't know who's doing what. So communication sometimes is very challenging. But organizational innovation or mid-company side, 100 to 500, that they think is very important because it's beginning company. They are not in the stable stage yet. So organization innovation and people who are working in the small size company, they are more sensitive about organizational innovation, which just makes sense. I was happy about this data. Then, what I showed you, all this research was a part of big plan that I had about 10 years ago. So this is kind of complicated headache. So I want you to bear with me. This is 10 years of my work here. So in order to develop an intrapreneurial organization structure, is version 2, meaning that I'm still working on it. There are 4 different levels. Organizational level, and the left-hand side, you see 1, 2, 3, 4. Leadership level, team level, and individual level. Organizational level, it is about organizational culture, policies, procedures that support intrapreneurial behaviors. So when somebody from the person who's an engineer, bottom engineer, brought up the idea, just like Tesla, because ideas from one engineer was working on battery. Sir, how about we use this the battery idea to the solar panel, or something like that. So that is a culture that all the workers can fully share their idea and knowledge with the business managers. And then we need the organization knowledge management system. And all the big consulting companies, they do have some level of a system to help these companies to organize that knowledge. Because just like one engineer who has the most idea about technology about solar battery, what if this person is going to be recruited to a different company, right? Which is very common. So business, the managers should be aware of that. And before, we never know who's going to leave, who's going to stay, then we need a knowledge management. This is my specialty, that when I do the business consulting, and I focus on this area, organizational knowledge management. And the next level is leadership level, because these are top leaders, they're doing business and they're dealing with stock market and the stakeholders. But business managers, they are more close to the people who are working in the field. So they should have a leadership, and they should be aware of all the risk that involved. So they are very busy. That's the reason why intrapreneurial organization leadership is the critical, very important. Then the top managers or the CEO, they need to make sure that all the leadership level people are equipped, and they do have this competencies to play this role in order to more team level. So team level people they will generate. So number 3, team level individual people will work together as a group, and the group performance, group competencies. And of course, group is collection of individual. As we saw that competency, communication, delegation, that's all group level. And individual level, I've been researching about professional identity-based motivation. Because when it is common that all the employees receive pressures from the business level or team level, then probably they experience high stress and maybe imposter syndromes, all that, which prevent their innovative mindset. So there's more psychology things going on in here, because as an industrial psychologist, I look at all the engineers, people working in the R&D, their mindset. They are oppressed by the system. They're not going to innovate. So you see this bottom level diagram, motivation, intrinsic, extrinsic motivation should be there to promote all the employees or engineers or technicians, scientists, entrepreneurial behavior, because we don't want entrepreneurship spin-off here. We don't, because they got some good idea. Okay, I'm gonna quit my company. I start my business. We don't want it, right? As a business, the CEO or managers, we want to impose that great knowledge and the new innovative idea within our organization, right? We don't like spin-offs. That's the reason why intrapreneurship is somewhat similar to entrepreneurship. We want employees gonna have an entrepreneurial mindset, but we don't want them to be entrepreneurs. We want to keep them, and whoever is gonna have good idea, just like Tesla and this scientist who link that solar, the car battery to the solar panel, something like that. We want to keep them as business managers, so that if individuals are not only working hard, and they produce different ideas and innovative ideas, and they try something new, while their work efficiencies go high, and they well-being, they feel safe in this organization, then what's going to happen? That will be directly impact to the organizational agility. again, the technology-based companies are all about agility because it's hard to read the market, see what's coming. And again, this pandemic, who knew it's gonna be happened? It is so, here is a managerial level risk analysis management, which is critical because the business managers or top managers should be able to forecast the market, and not only the business aspect, but maybe the social, cultural, natural disaster. That business analysis, risk analysis management is another big portion of intrapreneurial organization. I will explain to you a little bit more about it. Again, here and then here's a research topic that I've been pursuing. And here another point, integration of diversity. Why diversity is important, and I highlighted with the yellow because it's in order to be innovative, diversity of thoughts. So once it is kind of comfortable when the same people, same type of people are mingling together, but it's not going to generate a new idea, new invention. No, we need to be in the very liminal stage with the different people putting together. So which is diversity. This has been an issue in American companies because technology companies, they're all different kinds of people are within the team. And I teach leadership and management in innovation, the graduate class, and my students are from the Fortune 5 and the big companies, and they have very lack of understanding about different cultures. And my school, Penn State, is about 80% Caucasian, white, and my students are 80%. And if they're gonna work in the field, it is very common. And you're gonna work in Toyota, and you're gonna work in Hyundai, which is Korean company. And there are a lot of Indian engineers, wonderful engineers and researchers out there. It's about cultural diversity that should be respected to boost up the organizational innovation. But in our situation, American companies are a little bit lack of this diverse understanding, diversity, not only equity issues, but also, to me, more organizational performance issue. And again, the reason why I've been paying attention to gender, women, if we're gonna have more women engineers and the scientists, then the structure and system will be different, I believe, because that's how God created. Men and women are different. So the integration of diversity will make a big difference than current. So there are other companies like Google, and they purposefully make the very culturally diverse team. But there's an issue, and I don't have time to present all different research that I've been doing, but there's an issue about integration of diversity because it's hard. It is hard to understand what these people are doing, why they're doing something like that. And it takes some time to digest and make a synergy between different cultures and maybe different men and women and or different cultures. And here is American, and here is Japanese, Indian, Korean, European, African. It is very hard to integrate the diversity, but there should be a role or practice of leaders which should be included in entrepreneurial leadership. So this is a model that I'm developing and research that I'm doing. And again, I'm highly interested in the risk management side of entrepreneurial organization, because you cannot just invent, you just can't start a new business, just like Tesla was getting into the aerospace business. So how are you going to make money? You need to, company should be sustainable. So the risk analysis, including the financial management, should be included in here as entrepreneurial aspect. And I'm working on this research in the aerospace companies about risk management and the entrepreneurial, the organizational structure, because aerospace engineering area is also very technology heavy. So, and inclusive in this strategic planning. This is decision making for the leadership and communication between team level and high up the management level, which is very important because again, if there was no system of this Tesla engineer to share his vision and his idea to the top business, then probably Tesla is going down and they're not the leader of solar panel business. And the group work performance, this is the area of research has been going on, and the performance standard and compensation area. This is by IPSI, by the research. Gain the personal level professional identity development, identity-based motivation, because we want employees will be loyal to the company and employees got to be more innovative. So individual level is very, very crucial. So motivation, intrinsic, meaning that they feel like to do it, they're inspired to do it. So how can leaders and company will create a culture that all these scientists and the engineers will think creatively, and extrinsic motivation, monetary compensation, which also very, very important. So both. Then eventually entrepreneurial behaviors and effective well-being. There are our engineers and employees are happy in my company, something like that. And eventually, again, organizational agility. Yes, it involves a lot of different moving parts, and I've been pursuing each part past 10 years or so. So there are several researches already done, and I'm moving into the different stage or different part of research on each one. There's 12 of them. Make a long story short, we have, believe it or not, we have only 15 minutes to go. So I'm developing an equation. I want to see the overall score of this technology company's organizational agility. So organizational structure and the leadership, individual level, entrepreneurial intention. I'm creating a formula to, with the framework, this framework, I'm developing a formula to understand, evaluate the company's agility, which will be very helpful. So that's my direction. And if you feel like inspired to join, or if you want to talk to me or discuss about your organization or organizational agility research about business management aspect, feel free to contact me. I'm very open to discuss with the business management professionals, researchers, to do that. Okay, I know I promised that I'm gonna pack this my presentation. I have 10 more minutes to go, and then I'll wrap it up with my current sustainability project in Africa. It is somewhat related, so I want you to make a link from the part 1 through 3. Okay. All right, I hope you are all comfortable there and enjoying my presentation. So it's kind of sad I can't see you, but okay, let's move on. Part 3, current sustainability project in Africa. And here we see India here and very close Saudi and Africa. I'm working on this environmental risk management in Tanzania. What's happening in here is whenever typhoon happened and the flood is in the East Coast area, here Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, a lot of flood issues. And in the I'm particularly working in the evaluation part of the housing structure, because look at that, these houses, because it's now not well structured and it just destroyed like this whenever it happens. So we have a team and with faculty members in Tanzania to help them fix this issue. We cannot stop the typhoons and hails, but we try to build this this town. And the picture of city is something like this. It's something like this in America too, some parts. And what we do as me as a consultant or researcher, there are 3 different parts. risk identification. So we do what happened, where happened, and when happened, things like that. Risk identification. Then we do risk analysis, and I use HHM model, hierarchical holographic model. So I analyze with my team. We have different stakeholders to analyze this, identify the risk, then the structure, the architectural, the perspective of a structure, social, cultural perspective. So we do have 3 teams and local teams and engineers for change mostly from Europe, and we do have me, and I'm the team leader in terms of risk analysis, because again, I do risk analysis in the organizational level, but this is a new opportunity with the Pillar Foundation and sustainability issue, and the last process, the risk mitigation. So briefly, that's what I do. And the next project is in Ghana. What we are doing here is we try to do the mushroom farming. This project, there are a lot of trees are dying, and just like in Brazil, and there are a lot of cutting trees, and they make papers, and there are some companies there, American companies, and there's air pollution issues, and so in order to deal with that, the dust of woods, it can be used for the mushroom farming. So in this project, we try to encourage these community members to do mushroom farming. It is almost motivation project. And I applied the theory of planted behavior to encourage people to do more mushroom farming, and initial motivation and providing knowledge and skills, build community for them. But it was a big fail because they don't think it's going to happen. They don't feel like they have enough support and knowledge. So what we tried but didn't work that well. So we are still working on it. Next, hydroponic system in Ghana. In Africa, there is a serious health issues because of imbalance of nutrition. So in the Ghana high school, we try to build this system, hydroponic, which is a water-based vegetable growing system. It's still designing stage, and it's been very popular in entire Africa, South Africa, from there. And there's aquaponics utilizing fish to grow vegetables. But in this time, we are working on the water-based, which is hydro-based system, and we connect the Raspberry Pi and the small microcontroller to take care of the water quality, water pH level, and the water circulation irrigation system. So that's what I'm working on, and to help the vegetable issues, because there are a lot of meats. Africa, there are different animals, and it's so easy, the animals gonna survive, but the vegetables not. The weather is unpredictable, very hot. So it's been challenging, and this is the project that I'm working on. So that's about it. I made it on time, and we do have about 5 to 10 minutes to do question and answer session. Thank you all. I know I rushed. I spoke kind of fast because I packed a lot of information in my presentation to make our meeting very meaningful. I would love to get to know you. So here's my email, and you can find, some of you guys found me in the LinkedIn, which is very great. I would love to talk to you in person or Zoom about what I've been doing. So that's about it, my presentation.
Thank you so much. I mean, you certainly gave us a lot to think about. A lot was packed in there. I would like to open up the floor for questions, and I see that Ashneet has a question. So please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Park. It was wonderful hearing you today. Professor, I have a quick question with respect to leadership competencies. Like many managers who are involved into entrepreneurial activities might have a background of maybe entrepreneurship, right? So they can be serial entrepreneurs also who are actively involving in engaging into innovation within the organization. So in your research, did you discover on this element of the manager's competencies?
Oh, yes, that is a very, very important point. The manager's entrepreneurial background, knowledge, and competencies are very, very important. So as an innovation, what we call the intervention, or make a, how to say, the organization more agile, managerial level education and empowerment is very, very important. It's more important than more employees level, for sure. Very good point. So we, as a consultant, I designed a 3 days workshop to empower or stimulate mid-level managers, more entrepreneurial mindset, and how they digest, understand, and what other people are doing and helping them. So that is a key level, exactly, the managerial level, compared to the more top business level or the individual level. Yes, and there are some research about that, but it is, there's again, I question you guys, there is a problem or question about my research, which is, it's been done, I began this research in 2017 or 18. It's already outdated because all the literature about entrepreneurship is past. It's not right now. So there is an issue gap between the understanding entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship back then and right now, because market is changing very, very quickly, especially technology field. So that area should be investigated a little bit more so that we can make intervention and all that. And because then all the gender issues and diversity issues is not there it appeared past 3 years. So again, my literature review, there's a problem because it was 1990 to 2018, and we are living the new era. So anyhow, there was something. So this capacity of research should keep going. Thank you for the question.
I had a question, more of a comment. There are so many things you gave us to think about, especially in terms of cultural competency and diversity. As a person from education, I was wondering how early do we talk about these things in the curriculum? Because do you think that our current curriculum, or at least the ones that you have seen, tell students about these things, at least get them familiar, or is it only when they start working in an organization that they learn about these things?
Thank you. Another wonderful question. If they're going to start working in the company, it's already too late. I think it's way too late, especially considering that it's rapidly changing the technology environment. It should be done in the, I don't know, maybe high school even, in at least undergrad level. And both business management students, they should be very, very aware of, be familiar with that, because once they're going to graduate, they should be able to perform. They should be able to see what's the problem, what's the issue, what am I missing in terms of innovation? How can I empower these employees to think more entrepreneurially, and how to make the diversity, gender balance to empower this company? I think it should be started even high school, but maybe they're too young. We introduced more innovation, entrepreneurial idea. Entrepreneurship is gonna be good, but at the same time, intrapreneurship. But for sure, at least undergrad level, if they can get started, we can prepare them better for this generation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So engineering part and science part too, I've been developing curriculum for intrapreneurship, and there's a class that I'm designing to teach intrapreneurship, because intrapreneurship is understanding resources, understanding my team. So I felt like it is engineering part is a too engineering focused, and there is no capacity to understand. But business management part, it is sometimes very conceptual. It is just the case studies. So we need to make it as actual as possible. to students to be ready to understand the real world. So yeah, that's my perspective, and thank you for the question.
Sure. Yeah. Other comments and questions? The one thing that I missed out on, you had a brief line about a number of interviews that you did. How many interviews did you do?
We did about 20.
Okay. And was there anything interesting that came up?
Yes. There is another trick or the question that I had, because there was a gap between what they think is important, because again, they've been working in the field for a while. So they are the working managers, engineers, they didn't really mention about innovation and creativity that much. So compared to the model that I was suggesting, right? There is a diversity, innovation, inclusive discussion. They didn't mention about that. So there's a gap between the current workers, current managers. They're already old school. They're not too much aware of how diversity can empower innovation. No, there is nothing mentioned about that. There is nothing about innovation. Not much, because again, if you remember, communication important, business aspect is important, but they're all technology related people. They should mention about, well, we need to be more innovative, but innovation was like, I don't know, top in the middle out of 18 competencies. So it means that they are not too entrepreneurial. So my conclusion from my research was they are not entrepreneurial. So we need to change organization culture. We need to help them to think about it in that way.
Makes sense. You also collected a lot of data, and I was wondering, what was the process like?
It was a long-term process. We contacted many different engineering firms. We contact working managers and explaining our study and how it will benefit their companies. And we try to develop our engineering students better to be ready for the market, and our business management students to be ready. We will help you to understand your organization better. So it was a long discussion with the different companies, high-tech companies, about 10 high-tech companies in America. And then we contact them to convince them to participate in interview, to review our competencies. So I don't think it is perfect yet. It is just beginning of understanding current companies and how to develop the more ideal, the agile company in the future. So it took about 3 to 4 years to come this far, about only that one study. But other studies, more gender studies, is also going very well. So I'm working with other colleagues about women managers, women engineers in the technology field, and their experience, their perspective on innovation and the intrapreneurial organization. That's one study is currently going on. And also student level. We do have entrepreneurial program, but again, how many students are gonna be entrepreneurs? Maybe not that many. They should be more intrapreneurial. So we are in the middle of shifting or convincing people to shift that entrepreneurial program to more intrapreneurial program. So that's another research that I'm working on as well.
Wonderful. And Amit has a question in the chat box. I'll read it out. He says, very insightful presentation. Apart from Tesla, can you please give any other examples of firms who adopted entrepreneurial approach?
Google. Google is definitely. They're the probably top. I chose Tesla because it's too obvious, because there was an engineer, bottom engineer, who brought the idea to the top manager. But Google is already shifted to the more intrapreneurial, very open, very flat, more room to think. I think they have And 3M too. It is if you know Post-it, this sticky note 3M is also very entrepreneurial, and they allow employees to have more. I think I heard that 20%, 30% of their time to do anything. It's their working hours. Just be free to think about it and do something, but they have to submit it their new idea. That's the reason why they are the leading the company, 3M, and Ziploc also. They're shifting their business into more entrepreneurial because there are too many companies developing the Ziploc thing. So there are the companies that and aerospace engineering, Boeing and Lockheed, they're working very, very hard to shift to NASA in America to more entrepreneurial. But they are hard. Their size is too big. There are too many people in the too many divisions. But those are the high-tech companies that are shifting. One is not up to, in my perspective, my very personal opinion, Microsoft is not doing too well in that perspective. Apple is they've been trying to. I've been working as a consultant in Apple. They trying. They're very trying, but there's an issue because Apple is a concentration of two high brains that they collect just the two powerful, two smart people together. So it is very hard to make a more entrepreneurial because everyone's too smart. In my perspective, the Microsoft and they've been challenged to innovate their product. So yeah, those are my personal opinions about entrepreneurial the activities in the companies.
All right. Maybe we'll take one more question in the interest of time. And just so you know, this recording will be uploaded in our IIM Ahmedabad YouTube page, so you can revisit it. Any other questions for Dr. Park? About more things that I'm thinking in the same or similar lines.
Sure. Yes. Thanks for inviting me. And I would love to get to know each one of you in the future. So feel free to contact me by email. I'm typing in here. And then my LinkedIn. So I want to learn about more Indian market, Indian leaders for sure. And as I work in Africa, I think there's a closer relationship. I learned that high present in Indian community in Africa. I'm sure you guys are aware of it. So I would love to learn more about it, Indian business and the companies. So feel free to contact me and bye. Have a good evening there.